name is Naomi Ruff, and I am a master gardener in Wyandotte County. Today we are out at the Ag Hall where we have a demonstration garden. And in the garden we have tomatoes, peppers, okra, we even have cotton. But today we're going to plant brassicas. Now some of you will say, what is a brassica? A brassica is like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale. There are some other items that are brassicas, but those are the ones that people know most of the time. And I have Brussels sprouts and broccoli that we're going to plant this morning. This bed has set for a while, so I'm just going to take a potato fork and I'm going to turn the soil. That makes it much nicer to work in. You can get rid of most of the clods that have formed, and you have a good loose soil to put your plants in. Okay, in this 6-pack, I have Brussels sprouts, and I will just pull them out. I'm gonna squeeze the 6-pack so that I can pull it out. And then I will take my little spade. Now, some plants you can plant really deep, even deeper than they are in the dirt and you're coming out of the 6-pack, but Brussels sprouts are one that just needs to be even with the ground. And I did not put any fertilizer in the bottom of this hole. At a later time, after they've taken root and they've started to grow, we will give it some kind of fertilizer. One thing when you're planting your starts that have come out of a pot, you need to look at the root system. You can tell that these two came out of the same 6-pack. However, this one is almost root bound and this one's not. So this one I could just put directly in the ground. This one, however, I need to tease the roots apart, and the reason being that if I don't, they'll just continue to try to grow in that circle and they won't spread out through the bed and get a good root system on them. So I'll tease those apart, and if you lose some of the roots, that's okay too, because they'll just grow new roots. And then we'll dig a hole, stick it down in there, cover it up good, and we will water when we're through. This one looks pretty good. I'll tease it a little bit, dig a hole, put it in the ground. Always pack your soil around it so that it's nice and tight, and that helps keep it from moving around. You always want to be sure that you water them in good. They are stressed from being taken out of their little home and being put in the ground. And so watering them in good helps with that. And this particular bed doesn't take water very well. So I will stick my hand down in there to make sure that it's getting water. So I'm going to make like little reservoirs around it so the water will stay in there and soak into the ground. We have these hoops, and these are nothing but a piece of electrical conduit that has been bent to the right size of our bed. It was pushing down in the ground. And then we will take our cover, spread it over it, and fasten it in a way that keeps everything out of it. You need to be sure that you get everything covered. We'll put bricks here so that the wind doesn't catch it, blow it up, and it keeps everything covered.
So hi, my name is Lori Wellner, and I'm one of the FCS, Family Consumer Sciences, educator for K-State Research and Extension in Wyandotte County. And I deal with nutrition, all things nutrition, wellness, and food safety. All right, so the simple act of hand washing, again, yes, it is simple, but we want to make sure that we're doing it properly, which is about 20 seconds. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Again, I'm sure many of you know. We want to hand wash throughout the day, obviously after various occasions, but certainly before we start doing any type of food preparation in the kitchen. And so we are going to first make sure you get your hands wet, because you have to have your hands wet for the soap to do its job. And we are just going to be lathering up here for about 20 seconds, which is the ABC song and other songs that people like to sing to. Whatever works. And again, make sure that you're trying to get up the back of your hands and up and around. Get in there and really scrub in between. And a little warm right now. Give it a good rinse. Trying not to touch anything. And then dry your hands with a single-use towel, preferably. Nice and dry. And there you go. All right, so we were just in the garden having fun with Naomi, planting the Brussels sprouts and cabbages and broccoli. And so we're gonna go from the garden to the table, and we're gonna talk today about Brussels sprouts. These little packages of goodness provide a huge flavor and also an abundance of nutrition. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, just a couple of little fun facts. Did you know that Brussels sprouts were named after the capital of Belgium, where they were first thought to be cultivated, and they made their way to the United States via French settlers in Louisiana? So there you go. We're going to talk a little bit about selection. As with any vegetable, they come in several forms, but typically you'll find them fresh, like this, and also frozen. Now I want to say that about frozen vegetables, they are frozen at their optimum nutrition value. So they are always a good idea to purchase. Plus they're just going to be convenient, ready to go whenever you want. If you do select them raw like this, you want to make sure that those heads are nice and tight and compact, and they give off kind of a green, bright green color, like what you see here. So we already addressed a little bit about the selection. As I said, you can buy them in various forms. But I've talked also about nutrition. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. These little nuggets are very low in calories and sodium, but they're high in fiber, which is a very difficult nutrient for most of us to get in. So this does help, that benefits our digestive system in that way. And they're also high in vitamin A and vitamin C and good in other nutrients. Now, some people call these little cabbages. As you can see, they look like a little cabbage. And believe it or not, some people do not like Brussels sprouts. And I would argue it's in the way that they've been prepared, usually overcooked, typically by boiling. Boiling, 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 way too long, you get the point. And when that happens, an odd odor occurs, and also there's a bitter flavor that comes about too, which admittedly is not, a good thing to happen. But the good news is that there are different ways to prepare Brussels sprouts that really bring about that sweetness, nuttiness flavor that they impart. So you ask, what does that include? Definitely roasting. Roasting always brings out the natural sweetness in vegetables. Certainly steaming is an option, grilling, and even stir frying. But you don't have to cook them to enjoy them. So today we're just going to take them as is, and we're going to make a salad. So as I mentioned, we're going to prepare a salad, and I already have 3 cups of Brussels sprouts. So the ingredients are quite simple and perfect for the fall weather. So we have Brussels sprouts, and in this case, I actually grated them. When I made this earlier, I did thinly slice them. In either case, it is a labor of love, I will tell you. Unless you have a food processor, I just like to get my hands kind of involved in it. So it takes a bit of time, but it is worth it. So again, easy ingredients, Brussels sprouts, we have apples, and again, use whatever you have on hand. And onion, the recipe calls for shallots. I just use my sweet white onion. And then we'll get to the other ingredients. And then you have this simple dressing, and it includes apple cider vinegar, olive oil, a little bit of honey for sweetness, some salt and pepper, and that's it. Again, super simple. So we're going to go ahead and start by combining the ingredients. I'm going to add the apples. And again, I think I mentioned there's 3 cups in here. So that will serve quite a few. And all of this will be included. The websites will be included with this, so you'll be able to find the recipe and then some links to everything about Brussels sprouts, freezing, and all that you want to know. And then we're just going to add the dressing. And I did prepare that ahead of time. And just give it a quick mix. It's recommended that you allow this to set for 30 minutes so these flavors can all nicely blend together. And it smells wonderful. Alrighty. And I also pulled out some cranberries. You can easily add some dried cranberries for a little bit of color. It's not included in the recipe, but really as a base, this offers a lot of options. Now at the very end of the recipe, it says to garnish with nuts and Parmesan cheese. I opted to omit the nuts because our family has a lot of nut allergies, but I'm going to add the Parmesan cheese directly into the salad as part of the ingredients. And the flavor of Parmesan, again, a little goes a long way, but I too like the flavor that it imparts, that nutty flavor almost. And so again, it really just marries very well with all of these simple ingredients. So there you go. Brussels sprouts, apple salad, great for a side dish at the holidays or really any time of the year. Again, make sure you check us out. Look on our website for the recipe and more information. And thank you for listening in. Happy holidays and enjoy.